Welcome back. Dearborn has the largest Middle Eastern population in the country for schools. I myself am a former Dearborn pioneer, and I just heard everybody that went to Fordson out there probably just go, ah.
And I am not.
So here to help us analyze the direction that students, of course, are headed at Dearborn Public Schools, we're joined by Mike Casaley, Executive Director of Special Populations for Dearborn Public Schools. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Well, thank you guys both for having me. I myself am a Fordson grad.
So for all of you, hopefully you can celebrate a little bit.
That cross-district rivalry.
There we go.
When it comes to diversity inclusion, when it comes to Dearborn Public Schools, you've been a part of this district for quite some time. So talk about you guys' mission and being able to not only speak for your students, but also to help serve them too.
Absolutely. We're really working on empowering our students, having student-led initiatives. Through our diversity, equity, and inclusion work, we do a lot of work with students. Obviously, what we want to do is we want to make sure that our staff has the, all the resources and the knowledge equipped to help our students grow and succeed. Through our DEI work, it's often, we have different segments and different presentations, and part of it is Middle Eastern culture and how to teach the Arab student. And within it, we debunk some myths. For example, one of the major myths is that all Arabs are Muslims. Well, we know that that's not necessarily true, so we want to ensure that our staff do understand and know that. With that being said, we know that we have a large also Muslim population within our Arab students as well. So it's very, very common right now. If you walk into one of our schools, you'll see that obviously it being the month of Ramadan now, you'll see different decorations depicting Ramadan and whatnot. We have many schools are hosting iftar dinners. In fact, next Thursday I get to go to one myself. Principal Rayback is hosting one at Woodworth Middle School, an iftar dinner for the community and for the family. And really what all this does, it empowers our students. I could tell you, when I was growing up, things were a little bit different. Even post 9/11, right? Whenever we were seeing things, whether it was through Hollywood or through the media, a lot of it, unfortunately, for the Arab population or even the Muslim population, was depicted very negatively. So how do we ensure that our students not only understand the beauty of the culture that they come from, but they understand the beauty of all cultures and the power of knowing the beauty of all cultures? And really, in turn, what that does is it builds the whole child. It builds their self-esteem. It builds their confidence to hopefully do great things and become great leaders. I know a little bit later you're going to have Representative Elbas Farhat on this show. He's actually a Dearborn Fordson grad, and part of just the different great things that we've been doing in Dearborn.
And we were talking, of course, earlier with the representative for the museum, and he was talking about how quickly the population obviously builds up and everything. And schools obviously have to try and keep up with that population growth, and Dearborn's been expanding. Is it something that becomes tricky over time, or how has it been? I mean, it seems like it's been handled pretty well trying to keep up with it.
It's great when we grow. I mean, we saw a huge boom with a lot of immigrants from the Middle East back in about 2008 to about 2016 or so. And it was a positive thing because it just enriches, obviously, your culture, your community, your district. Some of the challenges are to ensure that, we get the services that, some of our students need. They come, we automatically think, okay, they may need language services, but they also come, possibly with some trauma as well. So we wanted to ensure that we had counselors, social workers, and people really understand what it is to come from possibly whether it's a war-torn situation or from poverty or things along those lines.
And we mentioned the month of Ramadan is upon us. It just coincidentally happens to be during Arab American Heritage Month. And of course, I remember as a kid growing up in school and of course going to elementary school, there was really not a place for kids who were fasting, who were observing the month of Ramadan. But if you were to paint a picture of what that looks like at Dearborn Public Schools, what would that be?
Absolutely. So we are very, very cognizant of the needs of our students and all of our students, specifically for our students who are fasting or abstaining from food or drink during Ramadan. So what you would see is, I could tell you, from my days as an assistant principal at Laurie School, we'd have the auditorium available for students to go sit during lunchtime possibly and watch videos. Now throughout the day, our Director of Student Services, Mr. Abraham Mashur, make sure to remind the entire district that, hey, it is Ramadan coming up and here are some things, for example, in gym, maybe perhaps let's not be as rigorous as we usually are, and things along those lines. Understand things like, maybe possibly test taking should be done first thing in the morning, because as the day goes on, for a person who's fasting, it just may become more and more difficult. So we just want to make sure that everybody understands, and we're including everybody, to how we can accommodate the best of our cultures and our student population.
And it's a constantly evolving set up even with the system as well, with how all these different things are provided to the students, and especially like you mentioned that there are different things like counseling, all that kind of stuff that are able to be provided. Is there a specific path, like a family, say they just came into the district, if they were watching right now, how would they go about getting access to that information? What can they do? Say they just came, now they're starting into the school system. What should they do?
Well, talk to any member in our district. We make sure, really honestly, opening day this year, what we did was we really focused on what we call social emotional learning, teaching the whole child, and really just ensuring that they just talk to any member within the school district and say, hey, I'm interested in some type of counseling, whether it's social work, whether it's through the schools or even, through private companies or whatnot. We try to connect with as much outreach as we can to ensure that we have the resources and services available. They can call the school district, they can visit our website, dearbornpublicschools.org. Call anybody really, and we'll make sure that we get them the help that they need.
You heard it here first from the Fortson Tractor himself.
There you go.
Awesome.
This
Thank you.
pioneer is very impressed.
There we go. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us so much. And of course, when we come back, we'll show you how Dearborn Heights firefighters are fasting for Ramadan. And of course, we'll introduce you to two local officials who help make it happen.